paper. Hey, take over for a sec.
I'm taking over for a sec. Sure enough. Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Mark. I'm a certified health coach, and in a second here, there she is. It's Teresa. She is a board certified family nurse practitioner. We are with Total Health and Wellness, and we like to talk about hormones, metabolic health, and just about everything in between.
Yeah.
So first off, I wanted to say it's been a little bit since we've been on. We went down to Florida for the LowCarbUSA Boca Raton, Florida conference, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
Had a great time, as we always do. So apart from being in Florida in general, we were also attending the conference. So we were there kind of learning, and then we've been putting some things together. Anticipate being back on like full time, at least about 3 or 4 days a week, starting again next week. So I just wanted to let you all know that because we've been incognito for a little bit. So as I mentioned, we were at LowCarb USA, and again, a fantastic conference. The focus on this conference was women's health, which was super cool. And there was actually providers now that are actually talking about women's health from a standpoint of not just the metabolic health, so talking about keto, low carb, carnivore type ways of eating and lifestyles, but also a lot of these providers, these female providers especially, are doing bioidentical hormone replacement. They're combining it. Isn't that crazy? So we just kind of combined the two. I don't know. Don't you think you combined the two kind of on accident?
Yeah.
You know, and started doing that. But now I think there's other providers who are figuring out that those two different treatments, so to speak, I mean, they play really well together.
Yeah.
So that was kind of neat to hear them all talking about that. So I know there was at least 2 women providers that were there that talked about doing bioidenticals for their patients.
Yeah. There was a GYN, a vascular surgeon, and they're actually mom and daughter.
Yeah.
And then Dr. Annette Bosworth, Dr. Boz, most of you guys know her. She was there, and she was she gave the last lecture on hormones for women. And then I said to Mark when we left that day, you know, to go to dinner that night, I said, it only irritates me more knowing all of the science and all of the studies that these presenters presented. And for physicians and nurse practitioners and PAs to still be like, I don't know if hormones are safe. Or we have to figure out which women need hormone. Well, every single woman is going to go through menopause. Now, fully transparent, not all women are going to feel crazy and cuckoo and have hot flashes and night sweats and vaginal dryness. But every single woman that goes through menopause is now at risk for heart disease, Alzheimer's and dementia, and osteoporosis. Without estrogen, your risk for those 3 things is there. So wouldn't it be simple to say then, if that, then every female needs hormones? I don't understand what the big jump is, like how we have to it's not a big jump.
Yeah, well, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and we also saw another individual who gave a fantastic presentation. It was actually a kind of almost the same presentation he did back in San Diego last year, in August of last year, but that was Dominic D'Agostino. And for those of you who don't know him, he's a research scientist at the University of South Florida in Tampa.
Go Bulls.
That's Teresa's alma mater as well. So, but anyway, he's doing some fantastic research on ketosis and cancer.
Yes.
And I talked a little bit about this a few months ago when we came back from Low Carb San Diego, but it was really interesting how they're finding improved outcomes for people who, when they use a combination of a ketogenic diet, they also put them on exogenous ketones, meaning they're actually drinking, or I don't know how they're taking it, but probably drinking like a ketone supplement, so to speak. And then they're using a hyperbaric oxygen therapy with that. And so those 3 together, combined together, the outcomes were fantastic for these studies that they're doing. And they're adding in other adjuvant type of treatments too, like vitamin C therapy and some other supplementation and whatnot. But it's really promising, and it's really exciting that they're doing that. And of course, with that type of research, it's all about money. You've got to get grants and research money to do it. So I imagine, that they're working on all that now to take these studies to the next level and work on it.
And he said in San Diego that out of the top 12 cancers, 9 of them are metabolically driven.
Oh yeah, fantastic point. Yeah.
Which means 9 of them are insulin driven. And I can tell you right now, breast and prostate cancer are 2 of them.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
The other thing that was nice to see there, and this we kind of also mentions in San Diego, is that shifting from the first few years that we went to Low Carb Boca and Low Carb San Diego, it was mostly, I hate using this term, but it was mostly lay people, me included, so just regular people who weren't providers going to learn more for themselves so they can start implementing this. But, about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, we started seeing a shift to where there were more providers than there were lay people at these conferences, because they're interested in learning this and they're actually interested in taking it to their patients. So that's fantastic to hear. And it's just sort of, again, this conference just kind of reaffirmed that.
And most of the presenters try to make it so lay people can understand it too.
Absolutely.
Except I think of people like Dominic D'Agostino, like he's so smart.
And Robert Seifus. So Dr. Seifus, they're two of the smart guys. When you look at their presentations, I mean, it's just like all of these chemical symbols and stuff all over the place. And you can kind of follow them for a while, but then sometimes it just goes off and you're like, okay, dude, let's move on.
So number one, go to LowCarb USA's Facebook page and like it. And then number two, start saving and planning to go to either Low Carb San Diego this August. Or so Low Carb San Diego is always in August and Low Carb Boca is always in January. You guys need to go to one of them because it's just, go ahead.
Or not even attend, but you can watch it virtually. So there's also an online virtual only ticket that you can purchase and just watch the live stream of the events or watch the recordings afterwards if you can't make those particular events.
Right. But if you're in person and you're sitting down and eating dinner and Eric Westman or Dr. Tro or Dr. Linskis comes and sits next to you while you're eating dinner.
Well, and they kind of hobnob around. So after the conferences are over, we have they have wine tasting. So they have Dry Farm Wines, always sponsors. So they bring out wine and they serve that low carb wine for everybody. And you get to talk to all these people. And then in between the conference or the actual presentations, they're out in the hallways and whatnot, chatting with people. So they're very approachable. All of them are friendly. You can just walk up to them and start talking to them, asking them questions. And they're used to that. And they know that that's part of the deal with being there. So just a really great opportunity. Now, if you're doing it live, you're also allowed to ask questions at the end of each presentation. And so Doug Reynolds will stand up there with his cell phone. He'll be looking at the questions and he'll literally read the questions from people who are watching or online live and to the presenters. And then the presenter will answer the question live. It's fantastic. I mean, and then of course the people there are asking questions as well. So what we'll do is, as always, if you're on YouTube, we'll drop links in the description. And if you're on Instagram or Facebook, we'll drop links or like the links in the comment section. But we'll have Low Carb USA in there. We'll have the SMHP, which is the Society for Metabolic Health Practitioners. That's more the provider side of Low Carb USA. And the reason I mention that is if you're looking for a low carb provider, you'll be able to find them on that website. So somebody who focuses on metabolic health. Also, we'll put a link to worldlinkmedical.com, which is where Teresa was trained in hormones and bioidentical hormone replacement. So, if you're not in Missouri or Florida where Teresa's licensed, you can go on the provider directory and you can look for providers who are certified to do things similar to the way Teresa does in whatever state you live in. So that was kind of all I had. I just did you have anything else about Low Carb Boca?
No.
Okay. Again, it was a fantastic conference.
I learned stuff that I'm going to change. I'm going to tweak a little bit of my stuff, but in the office, but it was great.
Right. And we'll be bringing you more information starting again next week. But I think you have a case study you wanted to talk about.
So I had I see that she's watching too. Sometimes it'll tell us if you like our page who's watching. But so this patient came to see me last year and has been struggling, but she just sent me an update today. So first, she's in her early 40s. When she was 40, like back in 2022, she went to her GYN office and said something's wrong. And the GYN said, what he always says, you're too young to have hormone symptoms. And she was telling him some of her other symptoms. And so one of her other symptoms was, sometimes tampons hurt when I try to use them. And he said, don't use tampons. And not like, I wonder why that is. Let me look. And then at the end of the visit, she asked again for blood work for hormone levels. And he said, again, you're too young. We don't even check people your age. And then he offered the birth control pill and she declined and he got mad. So incidentally, the same woman had her GYN visit in 2024. When you call for an appointment at these places, it's an 6 to 9 month waiting list. She had her appointment in 2024. While she was there, she made her appointment for 2025. Who even knows? We know we're going to Boca next year, but other providers don't know when they're going on vacation. So she gets a call that they won't be there that day in 2025. So she goes to reschedule, and guess when their next available is? 2026.
Is that bad? Waiting a year?
That's the kind of healthcare system you guys are, trying to be in, but it's not really healthcare. So, but anyway, she came to me. I told her to do carnivore. I put her on hormones, and I don't think she's too young to have hormone problems. And so she reached out to me today because there was a memory that popped up on her Facebook page that she was finally at 199, her weight. 199. It took 7 weeks and she lost, I wrote some notes, 8 pounds in 7 weeks. And she was ecstatic. But when she told me that today, she said it was super hard. And she was still eating crap and drinking like soda and sweet tea because in the gym culture, if you hire a trainer, she was using a trainer 3 days a week, they will tell you you can eat anything as long as it fits your macros. So that's a Snickers bar, a cheesecake, pizza, beer. For her, it was soda and sweet tea if it fits your macros.
Calories in, calories out.
Right. So she said it was super hard in those 7 weeks to lose 8 pounds. So now she said, she started November 30th and she was pretty strict. She had minimal interruptions for Christmas and New Year's. Okay, not even Thanksgiving. She started November 30th. She's lost 25 pounds in 9 weeks.
And that was going on a low carb?
Carnivore. Yep. She said her moods are, I can't read my writing. Her moods are better. That's what Janie and Angie say at the office too. Her moods are better. She has 0 depression, 0 anxiety, decreased inflammation. Her husband went on it too. And his stuffy nose and all that stuff is completely gone. Mm-hmm. She was saying that she prayed for a sign one night when she was doing Facebook, which quite a few people have told me this. Yeah. And my ad will pop up. So that's the power of commitment. And it's not even discipline, okay? It's not that you're undisciplined. It's just that if you don't have the right information and the right tools, how do you know that you shouldn't still be drinking diet soda and sweet tea? Mm-hmm. And if it fits your macros, that's still crap, because if you're eating cheesecake and Snickers and sweet tea and soda, you're spiking your insulin. When you're spiking your insulin and she has a trainer hired 3 days a week, all you and that trainer are doing is burning off the Snickers and the sweet tea and the soda. You're not even reaching your fat stores.
Right.
And as soon as you leave that trainer or go off Ozempic or any of these other things, no one has taught you hormones, including progesterone and testosterone and estradiol, but including insulin and glucose and the relationship they have on weight, then you're going to fail every time. And if you don't understand that food companies make the foods hyper palatable, which makes you coming back for more and more and more and makes you a binge eater, you will always, not always, but you're going to have a higher likelihood of failing. And what these influencers that they're paying now to come across my feed about people like us talking about carnivore is that we're going to make eating disorders. Well, I have a patient, I just saw her chart yesterday, who had anorexia and a binge eating disorder. Completely gone. Yeah, disorders, completely gone on carnivore. Mm-hmm. She went on carnivore before she came to see me. But carnivore, like Ozempic, one good thing about Ozempic is it gets rid of that food noise, which is the addiction part. Mm-hmm. So,
and when we're talking about carnivore too, guys, like one of the main advantages to low carb carnivore, whatever, is if you try it. I mean, if you haven't already done it and you wanted to try it, so what you could do is just eat meat and just do it for 30 days. Okay. Yeah. The advantage of these ways of eating are, and when I say ways of eating, it's carnivore, keto, low carb, high fat, whatever you want to call it. They all have little tiny bit differences, but not much. Is that you can eat as much food as you want to. Just eat, especially if you're doing a strict carnivore diet. Eat. You can eat meat all day long. It's not going to make you fat, and it's going to satiate you, and you won't have an issue with it. And then you've eliminated all those other foods and all that other noise out of your way of eating. So at the end of the 30 days, start reintroducing some of those foods back in one at a time and see how you feel. See how those foods are making you feel. Because I can tell you, I figured out how sensitive I was to dairy. Because now, if I eat certain dairy foods, after I've been doing a carnivore way of eating for a period of time, my nose will run. I'll start getting that gummy feeling in the back of my throat. Like there's an inflammatory reaction going on in my body from dairy. Right. So anyway, I didn't mean to cut you off on that, but
that's okay. And there's a small subset of people that will gain weight on a ton of meat.
Sure.
So you just have to figure out if that's you. Yeah. There is a small subset of people, if they wait too long, can have some of the signals in their brain not work anymore. Yeah. So where you never feel full. I do have a patient like that. So you'll just have to eat, 2 ribeyes and say, I'm done. I have to be done. Mm-hmm. But most of us did not get fat off of salmon and broccoli or, ribeye, bacon, and eggs. There is a stopping point. Like last night, because I'm still like fighting what I was fighting before we left. Yeah. But last night I finally ate almost my whole steak. Yeah. And I was like, oh, good. But all of a sudden, I put my fork down and he was like, "Are you done?" I was
Yeah.
like, I couldn't take another bite even if I wanted to.
Hard stop.
But if I had cake around, I could eat more.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Yep. So I just found this little piece of paper when we came home and I was cleaning up, and I had notes that I was going to tell you guys one time. This is the healthcare that you're, not all of you, I'm just being a blanket statement, that people are still trying to invest their time and money into. So a GYN, who I asked after this lady told me this, I was like, how old is this GYN? In his 30s, a male, said, we don't do hormones here. We don't do hormones. And then there was a PCP that one of my patients said she's having trouble sleeping. So perimenopausal women, one of the first things that goes is sleep. You cannot sleep anymore. That is a lack of progesterone. He said to take Benadryl. Well, don't we all know that Benadryl causes Alzheimer's and dementia if you use it chronically? Do we not? I mean, we don't care about that because there's meds for Alzheimer's and dementia. And then another note I have written down was a primary care told one of my patients when she was asking about hormones, emphatically said, we absolutely will not give BHRT to anyone.
Okay.
Anyone. That's like always and never. Like, how do you know that? There's gray areas in life. Okay, we all know that. But stop investing your time and energy into these people. They are hopefully going to get it one day, but there's too much money invested. And one of the talks, you can tell me if you think you know who it is, was saying there is a line like this of hospital administrative growth. So hospital administrators, CEOs, those kind of people, the line is straight up on growth. Physician growth is like this. It's a flat line. For every physician, there are 10 administrators. Do you remember whose talk this was?
Was it Prada?
Maybe.
I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
The Indian gentleman.
Yeah. So these CEOs at hospitals and insurance companies are making like tens of millions of dollars. You guys think your physicians are rich, and they might be more rich than middle class. But these corporations that are running healthcare as a corporations, what is that called? Fiducial responsibility?
The fiduciary responsibility.
Is to make money for their shareholders.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
Yeah. It's corporate medicine, excuse me. And so when you see these hospital systems now, they keep growing. Florida, we went down there and my gosh, Advent Health has just grown like crazy down there. And then you have Baycare.
Yeah. I used to work at Norton Plant. Now they're Baycare and they've bought out every hospital system. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's just they've grown exponentially, and the profit that these hospitals are making is even more crazy. And that was especially boosted during COVID because of the federal funds that those hospitals were receiving for COVID relief and whatnot. Yep. So anyway. Yeah,
and it's on average, people are paying $13,000 a year for their health insurance.
Ouch. And that's
just so you can also pay for your meds. You can also pay for your copays. You can also pay for a deductible if you get a kidney stone. I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah, give me a break.
For sure. For sure.
Okay.
All right, guys.
My head is standing up now.
I think we're all done for today. But anyway, yep, we're going to wrap it up for now. So thanks for watching. And if you guys haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to our channel if you're on YouTube, or liking or following us on Instagram or Facebook. We're on all those flavors of social media. Yeah. And then again, we'll drop links to all the stuff we've been talking about, like LowCarb USA and SMHP, Worldlink Medical. We'll drop those in the description and comment section. So,
and if you end up making plans to go to Low Carb San Diego, let us know.
Right on.
So we can see you.
We will. All right. As always, guys, we love you all
so much.
God bless you. We'll see you next time. And don't forget, food matters.
Bye.
Bye.